All right, everybody, we are going to get started. Welcome to our virtual financial aid happy hour with Colorado School of Mines Office of Admissions and our financial aid office. My name is Luke Contreras, and I'm going to kind of serve as your MC/moderator for the evening. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to come hang out with us. I know that it's an exciting time in your kind of high school career. You all are accepted students to an amazing university like Mines, and you're in that process of picking the right institution for you. Before we get started, we do just want to give you an immense and passionate congratulations on being accepted to Colorado School of Mines. That is a major accomplishment, and I am sure you have heard a lot of great news from a lot of great universities, but we are truly excited for you, and we know that you got a tough decision ahead of you of finding that right university. When we accepted you, that was a sign from us to you saying that we want you here, and we would love to see you on campus in the fall. We know that there are a lot of questions, though, and a lot of things that determine what the right university is for you. And tonight, you have an awesome opportunity to hear from two amazing leaders on campus that truly provide great leadership and guide incoming students and families in that college search process when it comes to financial aid and admissions. Now, you all have a lot of questions, and a lot of your questions range from various topics, from housing or academic advising or how do my credits transfer. But tonight is about financial aid specifically. And I know that a lot of those other questions, you are probably wondering, when do I get those answered, or how can I get those answered? Well, you can always reach out to the admissions office outside of tonight's webinar. We're always available Monday through Friday for questions, so feel free to reach out to us. But tonight, like I mentioned, is specifically on financial aid, and kind of financial aid at a 10,000-foot view. For a lot of us, and for a lot of you on this webinar, you might have some very specific questions about your financial situation or about your financial background. And our Office of Financial Aid is always there to answer some specific ones. But the goal of tonight, because we have over 300 people on tonight's webinar, is to kind of look at paying for college as the big picture conversation, some big things to keep in mind. And to kind of continue the welcome and to introduce himself, I'm going to pass the virtual mic over to our Executive Director of Admissions, Mr. Dale Galbitz.
Thanks, Luke. Really excited to be with everyone this afternoon. Appreciate you logging in and joining us. Golden, Colorado looks exactly like this picture behind me right now, except for the 6 or 7 inches of snow that's on the ground. We had a family that was visiting a couple days ago, and it was like beautiful and sunny outside. And they said, "Is this what the weather always looks like in February in Colorado?" And I said, "Oh yeah, every day." No, I obviously didn't say that, but just thought I popped this background up, and I thought that's might be some false advertising today, but we'll get through it. But we always want to take this time, as we're going to have some wonderful time today with several members from our financial aid team to get to some of those big high-level questions and then answer some of your specific questions in the chat and work through those. But we always like to just take a moment, and obviously Luke was celebrated the students here, but certainly families are a massive part of the financial aid picture as well, and obviously funding this great adventure for college. So each year, I like to take this moment to just celebrate the parents as well, grandparents, anyone who is helping out with this portion of the journey. Typically, I ask all the parents to grab their favorite beverage, whatever that might be for you. It's definitely late in the afternoon, and it's certainly 5 o'clock somewhere, especially here in the mountain range. So I usually crack open a beer. It's pretty cold outside today, so I'm going with a hot cup of coffee. So I've got my coffee right here to toast all of you. But I just wanted to say congratulations on getting your students this far in the process. For all of those of you who are accepted to Mines, the students, being accepted to Mines means statistically you're in the top 3 to 4% of all students graduating from high school this year. So it's quite an accomplishment. You've obviously done some amazing work. And you've also had some amazing support from family and friends. And so parents, we salute you. A big shout out and a toast to you. And thank you for all you've done supporting your students up to this point. So cheers. And with that, I'm going to turn the mic over to our illustrious director of financial aid here at Mines. Jill is absolutely one of the best. Her team is phenomenal. We were actually in a previous meeting today, some of the admissions folks were just talking about what absolute rock stars we have on our financial aid team and how grateful we are for them. Jill, I believe, has been at Mines for 13 years. Okay, I got that right. So 13 years, that's pretty amazing. And just the incredible knowledge they have. And we one of our brag points at Mines is that actually we have one of the lowest loan default rates in the country of any school. And so what that means is that our financial aid team does an amazing job guiding students through the process, guiding families through the process, and making sure all this makes sense for each family. And then also just have some amazing support going on once families are here. So that's a pretty cool brag point. And we're excited to share that. And we're really grateful for their time today. So with that, Jill, I'll turn it over to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Dale. Good evening, everyone. And again, just like Luke and Dale were both saying, congratulations on your admission to Mines. Now let's figure out how to get you here, right? And so let me just briefly go over kind of some timelines, some maybe targets that you should have already hit, maybe some upcoming targets to hit when it comes to financial aid. So the first thing that needed to happen is you need to be admitted. Look at that. You are already 1 for 1. You're already a rock star. The second thing that generally happens is you need to begin to do the financial aid process, right? So you need to complete that free application for federal student aid, or the FAFSA. That did open up on October 1st. It still is open, and it will be open all year. So if you have not done the FAFSA yet, we certainly recommend that you do that at least once, because what that will do is at least give you an idea of kind of where you land when it comes to financial aid. So most people think financial aid as like the Pell Grant, but there's much more to financial aid than that. There's scholarships, work study, student loans, parent loans, grants from the state of Colorado, grants from Mines. There's all kinds of things that fit under that umbrella of financial aid. So definitely do the FAFSA at least once. If it doesn't give you anything but things you're just not interested in, then you don't need to do it again. But we do suggest you do it once. And then the third thing, which is kind of a deadline coming up, or a soft deadline, we do keep that application open, but it's our general scholarship application. So all admitted students, you do not have to have confirmed your enrollment to Mines. You can just simply be admitted. You don't have to, you're going to be reviewed like everyone else. You'll want to complete that general scholarship application. It's kind of a two-step process. You have to get access to what our portal is called, which is Trailhead. And that is how you create a username and password to enter that Mines system. You can get there from our welcome page, finaid.mines.edu/welcome. And that will tell you the steps to get your username and password, which they call here account claim. You claim your account. Once you have that and have logged into Trailhead, you will be able to get to that general scholarship link. We will begin reviewing for our general scholarships on campus from our foundation starting March 1st. So you want to do it this month, get that in. And what will happen is when you go ahead and submit that general scholarship application, it will also open up other applications that you can apply for that maybe have a later date. So I would go ahead and complete that to kind of, like, we got all kinds of things beeping in my face here. Anyway, go ahead and complete that so that I can then we can begin to review and assign scholarships. So you would have received potentially an amount of a merit scholarship through the admissions application process. You do the FAFSA for any grants, any loans, any work study, and then you do the general scholarship application for any additional scholarships that we can offer to you. These foundation scholarships, we're going to ask you a bunch of weird questions because that donor wants to know if your grandfather was a firefighter. They want to know if you were from New Jersey or California, or, it's all these questions that we don't necessarily can figure out from your admissions app, because sometimes they ask if you have interest in something, but it will ask a bunch of questions. And it's just because our donors have said, I want to give you some money to help a student, but here's some criteria I want them to have. I want them to have interest in here. I want them to be from Texas or whatever it may be, from Colorado. And that's how we are able to identify students that are eligible. If you do not get one on the first round, meaning in the one in March, and we will let everyone know that we're able to give a scholarship to by the middle of April for that incoming year, we keep that database because we have constant rotation of donors coming in that we need to find a student, and that student just might be you. So definitely do it, just so you have it. You will get to do it each and every year. For our continuing students, we open it up in the summer, but for you incoming students, we opened it up in November. So we will begin in March 1st reviewing that, so make sure you get that done. So admission, you did it, good job. FAFSA, if you haven't, make sure you do it. And the third one, do that general scholarship application. Let's see. If you have changes on your FAFSA, so there's two different kinds of changes on the FAFSA. So it's the FAFSA change that you said, oh man, I put this number instead of that number, or we don't, it's 2 in college, not 1 in college, or whatever it may be. If you're correcting it, you put in information that wasn't accurate. At the time you say, oh, I messed up, I put an extra 0 or something like that, and you make that correction, tell us, because we need to go out and get that. We won't recognize that that's a correction coming in for us. So just email us, finaid@mines.edu, student ID, and say, hey, we did a correction to my son or my daughter's FAFSA. We just want to make sure you get it. And we will be on the lookout for that. And then the other kind of change on that FAFSA has to do with changes of income or benefits or decrease in income or whatever it may be, because the FAFSA is going to ask for 21 tax year information. If things have changed since then, and you need us to make what is from what was, then you need to contact us and go through the process of completing what is called a parent contribution review. There's a nice box on our front website, finaid.mines.edu. At the bottom, parent contribution review, click on that. It gives you all the criteria you need in order for us to make changes. Now, as an incoming student who has not confirmed their enrollment, we will do it in a test environment. We'll make those changes. We'll let you know what we can do and what the changes would be to your aid package. And then you can decide from there. If you decide to come and confirm to Mines, then we will make that change on the FAFSA for real once you've submitted any documentation that we may need. But we can go ahead and run a quick test for you to let you know what changes we might be able to make. So the other thing that there's a lot of questions on are on student loans and parent loans. So these are things that are going to help fill that gap if necessary. We always want our families to look for outside scholarships. We want our families doing the general scholarship application. We want our families looking at maybe the payment plan that the bursar's office puts into place, maybe 529 plans, whatever it may be. We want those things exhausted first. We don't want our students or our parents in any debt that they are not comfortable with. So if you are having to walk the loan route, we want you to think direct costs only. That's tuition, fees, on-campus room, and on-campus board, or housing and meal plan. Those are the only things, but in our cost of attendance will also be personal and transportation and books and supplies. All of that can be taken care of working in the summer. right? So only think about direct costs when it comes to loans. We don't want anyone getting into an uncomfortable loan debt. And as Dale said, we have a very low loan debt. It's 0.5%. So our students are very good about taking care of that loan debt upon graduation. It's not an uncomfortable debt. It's a manageable debt, and they're able to take care of it within the time period that they have to repay. So those are some of the basic questions we get about loans. We will begin to communicate with our family about loans in June. Right now, you're just making the decision on whether or not you want to come, and know that loans is an option if that's what you would like to do. For those families that are going to come, we're going to send you information in June, because we don't even get set up with the Department of Ed, who is the lender, until July. So we need you to kind of hold on, then do all the loan stuff later on this summer. It only takes a short amount of time. We get information right away from the lender. We communicate electronically with them. It's a very short process, so we don't need you to jump the gun and feel like it's going to take months to do that. And then we will get all that information from the lender once you start that. So that will be this summer, if that is something you want to do. I think that's kind of the high level. I think that's kind of some of the basics. And I am happy to answer any questions that maybe are coming across that are more common, as well as I have two amazing staff members, Ann Rusk and Anum Siddiqui. They're both online, answering those questions as we go along.
Awesome. Thank you to Jill and Dale for joining us this evening. How it's going to work for the next about 40 minutes is kind of like what Jill alluded to. We have a full team of admissions staff and financial aid staff members that are kind of in the background answering your questions that you're answering into the Q&A. Most of them are typing them in, but then we are going to put I am going to pose some kind of common questions live audibly to our panelists so they can answer them audibly as well. So that we'll do a little bit of mix of answers in the chat as well as answers live. And to kind of start off, I'm going to pose this first question to Dale with admissions. Dale, do you mind talking a little bit about something called the Raise Me Scholarship? I know it's a program that Mines is a part of, but there's different policies or practices or qualifications. Do you mind highlighting that and talking about that?
Yeah, thanks, Luke, and thank you again, Jill. So Raise Me is a unique program that about 350 or so campuses and universities, colleges and universities across the country actually are part of. And there are a lot of different ways that colleges can establish their partnership with Raise Me. Not all students are eligible for Raise Me at College School of Mines, because we actually receive special funding to provide this Raise Me program, especially for Pell eligible students. And the way that is indicated on a Raise Me profile is there's a question in the personal profile that students are asked to fill out about free and reduced lunch. And that is not an exact way to determine, if a student is Pell eligible, but it's the closest that we have for a lot of students when they are beginning those Raise Me profiles. And so if that qualification connects with your family situation, then great. It is a stackable amount. If you are eligible for Raise Me, it is up to $500 a year in a small stackable scholarship. And the reason why stackable is important is there are a lot of schools that are on Raise Me that kind of use Raise Me to let you know what you would be working up towards as far as a merit scholarship in general. And it's not actual new money. This is a small amount in the grand scheme, I guess is one way to put it, but it is new dollars. It is stackable money at Mines. And so that's why we've kind of limited who is able to interact with the program. But if you meet that qualification, and obviously you meet the other qualifications of the program with College School of Mines and Raise Me, Then what you would be looking for is, again, up to $500 a year, depending on how many of the different profile pieces and what are called micro scholarships, if you're familiar with that program, that would build up to that amount. And that is, of course, renewable each year. So you could get up to $2,000 through that program, and $2,000 is $2,000, right? So if that works for you, I would definitely take a look at it. And if you have any questions, you can definitely reach out to our staff, and we can answer those questions. Reach out to me directly. I'll be happy to chat with you about that. Thanks, Luke.
Perfect. Thank you, Dale. Hey, Jill, we've got a lot of questions about loans, and I guess I'm going to pose two types of questions for you, and one of them is a little bit longer. But the first question is, we filled out the FAFSA, but why was my student offered such a small amount, of total loans? And then do you mind just basically defining the different types of loans, such as what does unsubsidized versus subsidized mean? And then parent plus loan, about do I have to accept that or not? Do you mind just, and if you need me to re-say the question, just let me know.
Yep, nope, got it. So the first question has to do with loan limits. This is a federal limit on the amount that we can offer in loans. Any school that you apply to can only offer an incoming freshman, so that's 0 to 30 credit hours, 5,500 total in direct loans for that year. Now you have some transfer hours coming in, so that may eventually bump you up this year once we get things in, once you complete the fall semester. But 0 to 30 is a freshman, so that's 5,500. And we'll talk about the split of that 5,500 when I talk about kinds of loans, but it's 5,500. Then sophomore, 60 to 9 or 30 to 60, sorry, is 6,500. And then 60 to 90, like 40, 30, 60, 60, 90, and 90 on up is 7,500. Small amounts. These have, I'm going to be honest, right? These have not been changed for many, 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 many years. As financial aid administrators, we have said this loan amount is not acceptable, especially if we're at schools such as Colorado School of Mines, where our students graduate as engineers and have the salary to pay a loan back. They should be able to borrow more than that, and they just will not raise that limit. So it's 55, 6,500, then 7,500 junior, senior. Each time, each year, you must do the FAFSA for the next year. So it's, if you want to do the FAFSA once, that's what I'm asking you. But if you do use a loan, if you do use the work study, if you're getting grants, you've got to do it every year after that to get new money in that next year. Now, when it comes to the kind of loan that 5,500, 6,500, or 7,500 is either a subsidized direct loan or an unsubsidized direct loan. Subsidized can be a maximum of 3,500 of that 5,500. Okay, so you may see on your award announcement, if you fill out a FAFSA, we mailed you an award announcement, and we have emailed you to let you know your award announcement is in Trailhead. You can view it there. Subsidized means there's no interest that will accrue on that loan while the student is attending at least half time. Whether that's at Mines or it's another school, as long as they're at least half time, their loan will stay in deferment and no interest will compound on that loan. So it's great. It's the best one. If you're going to take a loan, that's the one you want to accept. And you have to confirm that you want it. So you'll go into Trailhead every year and accept those loans. You have to actively confirm you want those loans. We just don't start dispersing willy-nilly loans. You actively have to accept them, and there's steps to do that. Then the other loan, which if you have to go with the loan, it would be the second best loan, and that's an unsubsidized student loan. A small amount of interest will compound. That's why we suggest every 3 months when you get billed, pay that interest, pay that interest, pay that interest. So it's $2,000 today, $2,000 the day the student graduates. And then each year, the next year it's $4,500 subsidized, 2,000 unsub, then 5,500 subsidized, 2,000 unsubsidized. Your lender is the federal government, and they are called federal direct loans. On every award announcement you receive from every school, it should be absolutely clear that that is a loan, or is it a grant, is it work study, or is it a scholarship? If you have to guess, I would seriously think about that school. It should be written out clearly what that is, a loan, a grant, or scholarship, or work study. Then what the parents, so that is a student's debt. It is never the parent debt. The only thing the parent has to do each year is assist the student with completing the FAFSA. That's it. It's a student's debt. Then if there's still a gap and the parents are like, you know what, I'd like to take some loan out to help pay for that housing or that meal plan or both, then, or tuition, then they can do a federal loan program called the Parent Plus loan. Now, this interest rate is higher, definitely, than the student loan, and my staff can put what the interest rates are currently in the chat, or you can go to finaid.mines.edu/loans, and we'll give you that information as well. But the interest rate for the Parent Plus loan is higher than the student loan. It's probably higher than if you went to search for a private educational loan through your bank, but it's a very easy application. if that matters, you can defer the principal payment until the student graduates and just pay interest. So there are some things that are nice about that loan. The thing is, though, parents, is you cannot transfer that debt to the student. It is your debt. The student can help you pay. We have a lot of students that do that, but it is your debt. So we really want you to manage that amount as well. So it is called the Federal Parent Plus loan. You and the student will go to the same website. The student's going to do a two-step process, but you will actually, parents, do a request, which is kind of an application process, and the Department of Ed will do a high-level credit check. So all they're looking for is bankruptcies or foreclosures, that kind of credit issue. They're not looking for the little things, and they're not even asking you, what your salary is each year. So super simple application, super easy. There is a very, very good chance you'll be approved. If you're not, the student would then actually be eligible for additional student loan of $4,000 a year. So they get more in the unsubsidized direct loan for the year. Let's see. So those are the 3 loan programs that we will offer. And when you look on your award announcement or on Trailhead, it's going to give you, this is in the parent loan, you can ask for up to the cost of attendance. So if you say maximum, we're going to give you that whole cost of attendance, which also includes tuition, room, books and supplies, personal and transportation. So it's going to give you that. If you give us an exact amount, that's the amount that we will give to you. Loans, either the parent or the student, is dispersed in 2 halves. Halves will come in fall, and the other half will come in spring. Parent or student at any time when those loans disperse, you have a couple of weeks to tell us, you know what, I don't need the whole thing. Go ahead and return a portion of it. I see we have a credit. We're going to get that in a refund. We don't need it. I want that to go back to my Parent Plus loan. And we are happy to do it and have parents do it all the time. So those are the 2 questions. And I think if you have more loan questions, I can answer them more specifically, but that's kind of the gist of how the loan programs work.
That was awesome. Thank you, Jill. Dale, I want to throw the next question to you. Actually, I'll throw 2 questions to you. The first one is, does Colorado School of Mines recognize the National Hispanic Recognition Scholars Program or Award?
Okay, good question. Unfortunately, we do not. And there's a couple reasons for that. One, we are a test optional institution, and we really focus on that. We focus on the holistic process of the admission review. And so we've done a lot of retention analysis internally, and the test score at Mines, because the GPAs are already so high and students are so advanced, they're coming to Mines, the test score doesn't give us a lot. It's not really statistically significant when we're looking at retention. Part number two is for students that choose to submit their test score, our middle 50% now is actually 13, depending on the year, about a 1340 or 1350 to a 1490. And although the cut scores are not readily available publicly for the National Hispanic Recognition Award, the bottom of that number is actually above the cut scores that we receive as an institution. So I know they vary regionally a little bit by the different accrediting regions in the US, but basically all of them, except for one, are below the start of our middle 50%. And so we, although we give out a lot of financial aid as well, I think last year it was close to $28 million in different types of financial aid at Mines. We try to use those dollars in the best way that makes sense for all of our students coming in and highlight different areas of achievement. So that's just not one that really connects with our incoming class in that way.
Awesome. And then my other question to you, Dale, is a lot of our students may have been offered a scholarship at the point of admission. How does a student go about accepting that scholarship?
Well, that's the nice part. So if you're just talking about those merit awards that were awarded to you when you applied straight to Mines, there's actually nothing you have to do to accept that award on our side. That's coming to you, right? So that's a beautiful, simple process that we have kept at Mines that I'm really happy that we have. A lot of selective institutions don't have that piece. I'm glad that we still do. And so that's an easy button. If it's on, if you've already been offered that award, that merit award, when you applied to Mines and you were accepted, then there is no other extra step you need to take in order to accept that award. So thanks for the lobbing the softball in there, Luke. I appreciate it.
And the only form of aid that you have to go in, accept, or do something for, and you have to jump through hoops for, because we want you to know it's a loan, are those student and parent loans. That's it. Grants, scholarships, work study, they're already accepted for you. You just enroll and they'll pay. So you're all good.
Awesome. My next question is going to be for Jill. Jill, Mines doesn't freeze tuition. Tuition can always change, but do you have any perspective about the rate of change that tuition could be, or how that process goes, or when a family finds out about that?
Yeah, and tuition that's always a hard subject, right? We do our executive team is very conscientious about tuition. They understand affordability. They want Mines to be as affordable as possible. But unfortunately, we are just STEM. We don't have we're not a large institution, right? So we're not the big schools that have social sciences and education and psychology and all the other majors, general ed, that they can charge tuition to, not offer them a thing in the way of financial aid like scholarships, and they just write a check. Well, we don't have that. We are all very expensive STEMs, right? It's expensive to educate a really good engineer. And when you graduate from Mines, you are an exceptional engineer and ready to go, hit the ground running, ready to go right into the workforce. And so they've done everything they can to keep that tuition down the best they can, but it generally is between a 2% and 3% increase each year.
Awesome. Thank you. We've got a lot of questions about residency. Now, for everyone on the call, residency is a state level decision. It is not something established by the institution. It is established by the state government of Colorado. In a very brief definition, residency is determined by where the parents or legal guardians of the student file taxes till the student's 23 years of age. If you do have any unique situations about residency, For incoming students, residency questions are handled by the admissions office. So admissions@mines.edu for incoming student questions. But once again, residency, if you are an out-of-state student, you will most likely be an out-of-state student all 4 years. There are always extenuating circumstances for sure. Things may evolve. Maybe your mom and dad want to move to Colorado to come hang out with you while you're in college. You never know. So that could change or evolve, and we'll help. And there are plenty of resources on campus to help you change that while you're a student. But for incoming freshmen or incoming students, if you have questions about residency, us in the admissions office are the ones to help you with those. And our email, once again, is admissions@mines.edu. Jill, do you have any advice on where to find additional scholarships? I think everyone says these are out there, but I don't want to get scammed. I want to find some good resources. Do you have any insight on that, or do you have any insight about how students can find those scholarships or additional opportunities?
Yeah, so we do have some. If you go to our website, finaid.mines.edu, under scholarships, we do have some search engines. The other people that might be super helpful, and sometimes they are and sometimes aren't, are those high school counselors, right? Because those are the ones that donors are reaching out to. The Walmarts, the Targets of the world want to be able to stand up there and go, look how great we are. We're giving money to these high school seniors. So you definitely want to hook up with them. FastWeb, there's some pretty good search engines out there. And really, it's we had a student who came to Mines, and she was able to actually get almost everything paid for just by outside scholarships. We have over almost $4 million a year in outside scholarships. And what she did is she planned it in her calendar as a class. So Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 10 to 10:50, she searched for scholarships. She did this every semester, every year she was at Mines. One of the scholarships she came upon was a scuba diving scholarship. She'd never been scuba diving, but she read what it was in that scuba diving. So don't stop at the title, read when you come upon a scholarship, because then what happens is it said, oh, you only need a scuba diving club to nominate you for this $5,000 scholarship. She Googled scuba diving clubs in Colorado. There's 2. Who knew? So she emailed them both. One of them responded and said, sure, I'll nominate you. She said, here, this is who I am. This is what I want to do when I graduate. He nominated her and she got it. So you have to really work at it. It's a lot of work, and you're going to get a lot of no's, but eventually you'll get a yes. And it might be $1,000 or $500, and that's going to cover some books or a portion of your personal stuff for that semester, whatever it may be. So it's a lot of work, but just keep looking. And the more, just write that walk on water letter and just make adjustments. Each time you come upon a scholarship, submit that letter, just make little tweaks, submit the letter. And a lot of students, if there's a little bit of lift on that application that's not super easy, less and less people will apply. So you're in the running, you may just get that. So definitely it's a lot of work, and we have some search engines, as well as high school counselors generally will have some pretty good ones.
And I know a lot of you probably were like, oh, there's what's the likely chance of me getting an additional scholarship outside of Mines? Forbes magazine released an article last year that almost $100 million of scholarships went unawarded because not enough students applied for them. So there are scholarships out there. Definitely encourage you to do so. Like Jill said, you might find something really cool and unique to be a great scholarship for you. So definitely keep an eye out. Now, I know that this webinar is for in and out of state students, but I do have a very specific in-state question. So I want to preface this for all of my attendees. This is for Colorado residents only. But Jill, can you talk about the COF, or the College Opportunity Fund with Colorado? Once again, this is for Colorado residents only. Jill, do you mind talking about that?
Yeah, so the Colorado has a stipend in place. It's not financial aid. It is something that if you're a Colorado resident, you're going to be doing this your senior year. Your high school counselors are probably already making you do it, because you have to apply with the state. You have to fill out the process with the state on their website that says, I'm going to be attending. And then you can let them know where you're attending later, but you apply. And then once you have chosen a school in Colorado for Colorado residents, you let them know, as well as at each school will have an electronic process that you go through to say, I want you, Colorado School of Mines, to go give my College Opportunity Fund stipend each and every semester for me from here on out. So it's a forever, please do that. And we will do that each and every semester once that happens that one time. It is, because it's not financial aid, you are not going to see it on your financial aid. Where you do see it is in our cost of attendance. So if you look at our cost of attendance anywhere on our website, on the missions website, that number for tuition and fees will have a little asterisk for our Colorado residents because it takes into account the College Opportunity Fund. All right, we've already included that as being part because it's paying towards tuition. So we've already taken that off of the cost of attendance because that will come in to pay a portion of your tuition. So the amount you see on there already has College Opportunity Fund on there. Where our parents sometimes will get confused as well is if you are fortunate enough to get one of the tuition and fee scholarships that are for Colorado residents, we only pay up to where COF pays, right? Don't think, oh, I have tuition and fee, I'm not going to do COF. You have to do COF. If you don't do COF, you're paying that $1,500 a semester out of your pocket. We're not paying that. Everybody from Colorado, do the COF, please. Again, your high schools are going to be instrumental in guiding you through that, but our registrar's office, mines.edu/registrar, they will have the process of how to go through COF and how to do the application with the state and then confirm your enrollment and do the process on our side.
Awesome. Thank you. It really is easy money for you to access. Got to do a couple forms. It's money that Colorado residents, you have every right to authorize and get applied to your tuition. Dale, we've gotten a couple questions about these merit awards that students were offered at the point of admission. Students are curious about if there is any leeway for a potential appeal for additional scholarship dollars. Do you want to talk about that process or how that might look?
That's a great question. So until March 1st, students are able to petition or appeal those merit awards. We look at them on a case-by-case basis. And I believe that we could probably provide Luke, should we provide a link for a form or just have people email into me directly? Which would you prefer?
We will use the admissions@mines.edu email account we are for now.
Okay, sounds good. I know we're kind of updating that process. So make sure in your email, if you want to appeal, that you put scholarship appeal in the subject line of the email, big, so we don't miss it by any chance. But up until March 1st, if you have new materials, if there is different information you may have left out of your application, if you got better grades in your 7th semester and you want to, or you really crushed a specific math class or something, or if you've got a different letter of recommendation about a new project or something that's going to enhance your application, we will be happy to take a look at those new materials. But if you're going to appeal, I would say have something new, right? Let us know something that we don't already know, so that we have some reason for upping the merit award. We don't do comparisons to other schools and, hey, I got more money from school X, so I want more money here. That's not part of this process. But if you've got something new to share with us or something that maybe wasn't included in your original application, we'll be happy to take a look at that up until March 1st.
Awesome. Thank you, Dale. Jill, we always get the question about why don't parents get the bill? Why am I not able to see the bill? Why does it have to go through the student? Do you want to talk a little bit about that? And if you have any advice about how to have that conversation, or sometimes parents can get proxy access to certain things, do you want to just highlight that?
Yeah, you bet. So FERPA comes into play once a student graduates from high school, and really once they begin attendance here at Mines, that's when FERPA it rolls in. And what we really feel is this is allowing the students to adult a little bit without, going both feet head in of adulting, right? So we communicate with the student through their mines.edu website email. They will communicate with our office if they want numbers and they want direct questions. They need to use their mines.edu email. But we know that parents, absolutely, this is how they're helping to pay to get their student through college. So there's two different things that the student can do for you, so you have access to know what's going on. So on the bursar's office side or the billing side, you can gain access to their CashNet or to their billing system. The student does that. They give the parent a username and a password, and you can then view the bill at any time. For the financial aid side and registrar side, it's called Proxy. And if you go to finaid.mines.edu, on the top toolbar, you'll see different options, undergraduate, graduate, and there's a link for parent. In there is the proxy process. The student, again, is the driver in all of this. And then you have access to Trailhead, basically, your version, where you can see has their loans, is everything complete or their requirements complete. You won't have update capability, like the student is the one that has to go accept the loans, but you can absolutely view if they accepted the loans. So you can absolutely have access to view these things, but the communications will be going to the student. So you need to start that conversation now. And this is a lot of universities. This isn't just a Mines thing. So you need to start that conversation now with the student about keeping up with their emails, if the schools are texting them, and getting that information to you, to saying, hey, I got a bill, let's go view it together, so we know what we're doing.
Awesome. For those folks that maybe are not familiar with FERPA is, that is the Family Education Rights and Privacy Act. One of my colleagues dropped a link to explain about what it is, but essentially it's the HIPAA equivalent of higher education. When a student hits a certain age, they're considered an adult, and then there are some privacy things there. But there is more in this chat, or more in the chat if you're curious about what exactly FERPA is. Jill, I'm going to go right back at you. Can you talk about student employment or work study?
Yeah.
And how it could be another option to help pay for school or
Yep.
books or anything like that? So
if you must complete the free application for federal student aid in order to get a work study allocation on your award announcement. It is a need-based form of aid. So some will get it, some will not, depending on the information that you put in on the FAFSA. Whether or not you receive a Colorado Work Study Award, you may say, a federal Work Study Award, even if you don't get either of those, you can still work on campus, and we encourage you to work on campus. We don't receive enough in federal or Colorado work study to pay all of our students that work on our campus. Mines only runs because of our student employees. We have like 6 of them in my office. So what will happen is the first week of classes, or just as classes get going, there's 2 ways to find jobs on campus. You can go to our job board. Currently it's called DiggerNet. That name may be changing, but it's through Career Services. They will update an online job board that you can go and apply for jobs. Or that first week of classes, they usually have a job fair in the student center where offices can go that are looking for employees. Now, what is nice about the work study is you get paid the same, you get paid every 2 weeks, just like everybody, but your wage is coming from either the federal government or the state of Colorado, rather than our own coffers that other students that aren't eligible for work study we have to use our own money to pay that student wage. But we still need them. Like I said, we don't have enough money to go around. And the allocation that we offer is about 10 hours a week, right? couple hours a day. Maybe it's that 8 to 10 time frame. So you can get up, get to work, get going, because you have all these great things. You're going to get up, you're going to work out, you're going to have breakfast, you're going to study, you're going to write that paper, and then go to class at 1 o'clock. No, you're running to class in your slippers because you've been laying in bed the whole morning. Sometimes it helps to get you out of bed, right? You got to get to your job, and that gets you going for the day. So lots of opportunity to work on campus. A couple hours a day, 10 hours a week isn't overwhelming to your academics. And it really does help to connect you, especially if you're coming from out of state and you don't have any friends here. Working on campus helps to get you in a group right now. You'll have staff and faculty that are helping to mentor you, as well as you'll have a group of other students that now you have something in common with. You work together, you get to know them. So that's working on campus in general.
And there are a lot of on-campus jobs, folks. I cannot emphasize that enough. In the Office of Admissions alone, we employ almost 60 students, I believe, and always could use more. If you ever toured campus or came and visited campus and met with the student in the admissions office, they were paid to do that. They were paid to give tours. And that's just one example, one office. There are hundreds and if not thousands of other opportunities. So just know that on-campus jobs are rather abundant. Jill, I guess there's two things I kind of want to reemphasize that you kind of talked about in your early spiel, but probably good just to remind our audience. One is, when do students and families hear back if they got a scholarship through the general scholarship application? And two, when does a family know what they're exactly going to pay? Like, when do they know, like, what's my final bill with mine? So that way they just kind of can help budget with that.
Yeah, so when it comes to when you're going to hear about the general scholarship application, we will let students know about the second week of April. So it gives you 2 to 3 weeks to really think about whether this is a match for you, whether this is the right fit for you for that May 1st deadline. So it gives you that opportunity to think about it. So we begin to review. There's a ton of us that review the scholarships. And then we let our families know about the second week of April. We will let you know via email, students. It's coming to you. We're gonna have a little blurb about who the donor is, what the scholarship is, how much it is, and whether it's renewable, meaning whether or not you're going to receive it year after year after year while you're at Mines. And if so, what are the renewal criteria? So you will get an email letting you know. Now, we keep that scholarship app open. And even if you're not getting anything, there could be opportunity, because we'll have students that don't come. We need to go to the next one on the list, and that might be you. So we just keep it rolling. And as new donors come up, as the foundation needs names of something for a donor, we can then find them quickly. And then the second question was, how much to pay? Okay. The first semester, I'm going to tell you right now, you are drinking from the fire hose, because the registrar's office is the one that's going to enroll you in classes. Unfortunately, that starts, because they need all the AP courses and all of that. That starts in July. So it's a quick turnaround on when the bill hits, when things hit. So you'll know in early August exactly what it is you're going to owe, because the Board of Trustees would have voted on everything, which that estimate that we have on on the award announcement, we don't have it up on our website yet, but on the award announcement, that is very close to what it's going to be. It's not going to differ a lot. They're very good. The Board of Trustees trusts our financial people, and they generally will vote in that amount. So it's going to be close to that overall, but the bill will be exact probably that first week, second week of August, when all the housing goes on, your health insurance has been waived, all of those things are done, then you'll have. Now, you do have, now you're thinking, oh my God, August, but they start school. You have until census of every semester to pay that bill, and we encourage you to not pay the bill until after school starts. Census, which is the last day to add, is 2 weeks into the term, into the semester. All right, the student may change their meal plan. They may change a class. They may do something that changes that bill. Let the student tell you that first week of class, yep, I'm good, mom or dad. Great. Then you can go in and go ahead and pay that. If you pay it too early, sure enough, they change meal plan or something happens, something changes. And now you got to go in and fix it anyway. So I would wait till that first week of class, let it kind of roll through, figure out, okay, I'm settled, then go ahead and pay. I did see a question regarding something I had mentioned on the scholarship app, meaning some of you have been admitted but have not chosen Minds yet. Others have been admitted and said, yes, we're coming to Minds. I just want you to know each student is looked at the same on the general scholarship application, meaning we're not giving preference to the student who said they're coming to Minds. We don't really even know. We just know you applied in the general scholarship application. It usually works out, it's about half and half. Half the students that are selected have confirmed their enrollment, the other half haven't. Sometimes that sways them to confirm, other times it doesn't, and we move on the list to find the next student who's eligible. So that's what I mean by confirm enrollment. Doesn't matter. We look at everybody the same on the general scholarship application.
Fantastic. And we are quickly approaching the top of the hour. So real quick, Jill, in a quick kind of summary, if a family and a student want to reach out to your office and have a conversation, what's the best way and what do they need to have with them so that this conversation can be meaningful and successful?
So if you go to finaid.minds.edu, on every single page on the right-hand side is a contact form. So it'll be a phone number if you want to call. It's an email if you want to email. We can even do Zoom. Parents have loved that because a student is now a continuing student here at Minds. They're in our office, we Zoom, or they're in their residence hall and we're all Zooming and talking together. So you can come in person and really, you're just coming with questions. I mean, if you're really wanting to talk about something that's on a piece of paper, you can bring it. But a lot of times it's just mostly questions that absolutely can be answered over email, by a phone call, by a Zoom call. We have not yet heard a question that we haven't heard before. It's all questions. Don't feel like you're the only one that has this question. Chances are there's been many before you. We are used to answering the questions and are happy to answer at any time. We're open 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. We get back to our families usually within the next day with phone calls. We have students and staff that are answering emails all times. So we get back to you rather quickly. So finaid.minds.edu, all on the right-hand side, pick your poison. We're happy to talk to you.
Awesome. And I'm going to hand it over to Dale Galbitz for some closing remarks.
All right. Jill, thank you so much. And I would like to thank all our financial aid team members and admissions team members for doing all the behind the scenes work and answering so many questions in the chat today. If we didn't get to your question or whatever during this hour, please email us at admissions@minds.edu afterwards, and we'll be sure to respond to your question. But I wanted to finish with some really cool, exciting information today. You won't see this on our website yet. You won't see this in our printed materials yet, because we literally just got the brand new jobs report for this last year of what our graduates are doing while we were having this this happy hour virtual event today. And I wanted to share some of these outcomes with you because honestly, it's pretty freaking cool. So when you're thinking about internships, this last year, 70% of our students graduating with a bachelor's had an internship experience during their undergraduate whole experience at Minds. Of course, the rest of the students are typically doing some type of undergraduate research and all that kind of a thing. But out of those, over 90% of the internships were paid internships. That was across 38 states and 8 different countries around the globe while they were finishing their undergrad here. And for the first time in school history, The average starting salary for students coming out with it, finishing their bachelor's degree at Mines, is over $80,000 a year. So we're sitting now averaging $81,000 a year. And some of the different salaries across different majors are pretty phenomenal. I'm not showing you this. I don't have it in a format yet that would work with Zoom, but those are pretty exciting numbers. So amazing student outcomes financially, both while they are students at Mines doing their internships, but then obviously, of course, when they graduate. So that's pretty exciting stuff. So I wanted to just kind of bring all this full circle and share some of these fun, brand new, hot off the press numbers with you on student outcomes. So that's what I wanted to share. Luke, is there anything I missed that you want to touch on before we sign off tonight?
No, real quick, just once again, everybody, thank you so much for logging on. Thank you to Jill. Thank you to Dale. This is not the last time that you can attend a webinar about incoming student questions. In March, so next month, we will be hosting a webinar about residence life or living on campus. So there'll be more information about that coming soon. And then in April, we are going to be hosting a webinar all about orientation and next things to consider as an enrolled student. So 2 other webinars coming, one about housing, one about orientation and next things. You will absolutely get communicated about when those happen. Also, if you go to tour.mines.edu, once again, tour.mines.edu, you'll see all of our visit opportunities. Everybody, thank you so much for hanging out with us this evening. On behalf of our entire community, congratulations on being accepted. Enjoy the rest of your senior year, and we hope to see you on campus in August. Good night, everybody.